I tell you to leave? Didn't I?
If someone's coming at you with a machete, he's not collecting for the Red Cross. He's looking to hack you to pieces. One wrong move and you're losing blood, limbs, or your life. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to handle a machete-wielding attacker and the fastest way to shut them down before they carve you up like meat. Let's check it out. The machete isn't just a tool, it's a weapon of choice for gangs across Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Now, it's increasingly popular on the streets of London, turning everyday disputes into life-threatening encounters. And here in the United States, machete attacks have been tied to brutal gang violence from groups like MS-13. Understanding how to defend against this kind of threat is not optional. It's essential. Now, if you want to learn more about the critical stance required to defend against a machete attack, check out my book, Stand and Deliver. It covers the essential edge weapon defense stance and related skills you'll need to survive this type of encounter. I'll drop a link in the description down below if you'd like to check it out. If you prefer video instruction, check out my Control and Conquer video series that dives deep into edge weapon defense skills, how they happen, how to survive them, and how to shut them down fast. It's available for sale on my website at sammyfranco.com. And if you're a War Machine Elite member, you can watch it for free inside the members only section of this channel. And if you're not already a War Machine member, click the join button below to check out the different perks and membership options we have available. Keep in mind, in this video, I'm only covering one angle of attack with a machete. Attention spans are short on YouTube, and I want to make sure you walk away with something actionable. But in reality, machete assaults can unfold in many different ways, depending on the type of blade, the range, the angle of attack, and the attacker's intent. Now, if you want to be fully prepared, you need a complete system, not just one move. I'll be covering other machete attacks and scenarios in exclusive War Machine Elite videos. So if you're serious about mastering machete defense skills, that's where you need to be. Before we begin, there are a few critical things you need to know. First, never practice machete defense with a real machete. That's like doing gun disarm techniques with a loaded weapon, or knife defense with a live blade. You're going to get injured or killed. Safe training is always your #1 priority. Second, a machete attack is as deadly as it gets. If you have a chance to de-escalate or escape safely from the situation, take it. But be damn sure you can actually haul ass. Because if your back is turned and you're slow, you're not retreating. You're offering a target to the assailant. And you might just get your head lopped off in the process. And if you're fat or out of shape or elderly, your escape options are limited. Know your reality. And third, use your environment. For example, if you can put a doorway frame or a barrier between you and the attacker, it can temporarily restrict his ability to swing. But don't get comfortable. If that machete has a pointed tip, he can still impale you through the gap. It's important to mention that not all machetes are the same. Tommy, come on out. So it's really important, Tommy, open up, take it out the machete. So it's important to mention that some machetes have a pointed tip, and that changes the dynamics exponentially. Some have rounded tips. If it's a rounded tip, you don't necessarily have to worry about being impaled or someone's thrusting it at you or stabbing you with it. But you should always assume the worst, because many times you can't really tell when the chaos hits. So always assume it has a pointed tip, so it can be used to drive into you and to impale you. Just keep that in the back of your mind. When defending against a machete attack, there are a few critical CFA principles you need to follow. #1, maintain distance. Stay outside the arc of the swing until you're ready to engage. This requires fast, efficient footwork and constant awareness of your positioning and range. 2, assume a protective stance. Always default to a CFA knife defense stance. I've covered this extensively in other videos, and it's the same structure that applies here. 3. Crash the line. You must close the distance gap and drive in during the chamber or recoil phase of the swing before the machete gains full momentum. 4. Jam the weapon limb. Use a reinforced mid-block to block or jam the attacking arm and stop the swing before it completes its arc. 5. Trap and control. Immediately transition into a windmill trap and dominate the weapon-bearing arm. Expect resistance because most attackers won't let you go without a fight. And 6. Finish with force. Once you have control, end the threat decisively. Use the most devastating techniques in your arsenal to shut him down fast and make sure he does not get back up. The next thing you need to consider is, what do you have in your environment that you can use to help buy some time, shield against the attack, or even distract him? For example, something like a stool such as this. This can be, Tommy, come on out. Okay, so you can use this as a distraction weapon. For example, I can throw this at Tommy, rush through the line, and control the actual limb holding the machete. Or if he decides to swing at me, Tommy, give me a swing, you can use this as an actual shield to block against the attack, and then throw it at him as a distractionary tool to close the distance and try to control the weapon. What I'm trying to emphasize is, take advantage of your environment, whatever you have available. However, make certain that it has the structural integrity to get the job done. There is a tremendous amount of misinformation regarding machete defense. For example, Tommy, come on out. Some reality-based instructors, that's what they call themselves, teach this technique. If Tommy's going to swing across my body, they hollow out the body and they bring it back and they step back. This is one of the biggest mistakes you can ever make when dealing with a machete attack. Number one, if you misjudge it, you're going to have your stomach sliced wide open. Next is, you're stepping back with both feet. You don't have any stability when you back up like that. You need to maintain a solid, angular 45-degree angle stance. This does not provide that. Another important thing people are not teaching is a protective stance. Many people are just holding their hands out here. So Tommy, come on out. When Tommy just starts swinging randomly at me, they're just moving outside the range, just keep moving around. They hold their hands out like this. Let me tell you something. This is absolutely absurd, and it's a true indication of a novice trying to teach self-defense. You need a protective stance. For all intents and purposes, this is an edged weapon. So we use our CFA knife defense stance. This stance offers maximum protection and also facilitates mobility because you have to close the distance gap, get inside that arc of that swing, and control his arm. So we're gonna have Tommy come out. He's gonna assume our knife defense stance. And again, when I say knife defense stance, I'm referring to edge weapon defense stance. We're gonna see how he maintains his stance as I start throwing just some random swings at him. Let's see if he maintains his balance and he keeps his structure. Okay, so Tommy, come on out. So move around, I'm gonna start swinging, that's it. Good, knife, that's it, moving the balls of the feet. Now it's also important to mention, Tommy, keep your elbows down a little bit lower, there you go. It's really important to mention, thanks Tommy, it's really important to mention you're gonna get cut. And anybody who teaches that you're not gonna get cut has no clue about what real world self-defense is about. You're dealing with a machete attack, edge weapon. Chances are you're going to get cut. Hopefully, it's not going to be a mortal wound. Okay, so Tommy, a couple things. First of all, when Tommy assumes his knife defense stance, he's turning his wrists in. He wants to keep them straight. That's one thing. The next thing is he's moving around a lot, which of course you have to do because you have to find the ideal moment to move in and stuff this attack. But understand this, you do not want to evade it all day long because all that's going to do is create more vulnerabilities because the longer this goes on, the greater chances you'll slip, trip, fall, lose your balance, and then you're really going to be in trouble. So you got to move in. You have to move as quickly as possible, but you have to time it right. So that's a balance and only you can make the right decision at that moment. So for many of you, you've never had this type of training. So Tommy has never had machete defense training at all, and we're gonna see how he does, and you can actually learn as he learns at the same time. So Tommy's gonna assume his knife defense stance, his feet are shoulder width apart, his knees are bent, 50% of his weight is on each leg, and what we're gonna work on here is just a specific part of this defensive response. He's gonna move in and stop the actual arc of the swing. So that requires timing and a heck of a lot of balls. So again, let me swing a couple times, Tommy, and you time it whenever you're ready. 1, 2. Okay, so Tommy, he definitely crashed the line, but if you look at him, he's really rushing forward and his footwork really goes out the window because he's trying desperately to close that distance gap as quickly as possible. But the problem is there's vulnerability, because when you rush in just like this with both feet, like almost as if you're walking or running forward, it's a mistake. You want to maintain that 45-degree angle stance and lunge and push yourself off the balls of the feet, because you have to have a solid structure. There's a lot of momentum coming with the arc of this swing. So let's try it again. So I'll swing a couple times. You move it whenever you're ready. That's better, good. And it's all timing. He needs to work on timing, and practice is what's going to develop this timing. Better. Okay, and try to keep that stance, Tommy. Try to keep that 45 degrees. Again, we don't want to cross our feet one in front of the other. We want to maintain a stance. I'm telling you guys, you lose your balance against a machete, a baseball bat, and even a knife, and you lose your life. And again, we're going to work on it over and over again until he gets all of those mistakes out of his system. Okay, so what's really interesting here, let's move closer to the camera. Notice how Tommy is using the back of his forearms to use his reinforced mid-block. This is incorrect. Tommy, have the belly of the forearms face out. That provides much greater structural integrity against that actual arc of the swing. So Tommy, do it the way you had originally. Again, this is a beginner. This is what they do, but now he's going to change it to the belly of the arms are facing forward. Go ahead, Tommy, face out. They are open your hands out, much better. We don't want to close the fist because it actually creates a type of muscular tension in the arms and actually retards speed. So when you do this technique from a knife defense stance and you do the reinforced mid block, you don't see me doing it like this, you see me doing it like that, because the idea is I want to facilitate speed. Because once you initiate the reinforced mid block, you wrap around with the windmill and then you neutralize him. So all these little things, it sounds like I'm nitpicking, these are nuances, and together they make it a much more efficient method of fighting. So when Tommy comes in with that swing, I've got to close that distance gap, which requires a tremendous amount of timing. You need to practice this a hell of a lot to get this down. So when Tommy comes in with that swing, and this is a moment in time, as I move in and I stuff that weapon with a reinforced mid block, I talked about this in my baseball bat defense video. We windmill and trap this arm super tight. You may even have to hold on to your own shirt in case it gets very slippery and he tries to pull his arm out. The next technique is I'm not trying to disarm that weapon. I'm going to neutralize him, and that's where I'm going to go right for the throat, crush it, and drive him back as hard as I can until he is completely neutralized. Surviving a machete attack isn't about luck. It's about preparation, mindset, and decisive action. The streets don't forgive hesitation, and neither do blades. Train hard, stay sharp, and I'll see you at the next video.